what they seen is like all our closing and all the happy moments, but they don't really see like the behind the scene and actually all the effort that we actually put in to actually close the closings.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Property in 20 brought to you by Ceekay Soh District. And today our topic is rather interesting. We're going to talk about the untold challenges that property agents face. So before we introduce the guest for today, one of the reasons why we decided on this topic is because I think for a lot of people, they take it for granted that it's easy to be a real estate agent. Right. So on the ground as a real estate agent, sometimes we do face a lot of challenges whereby people do not value the services that we provide. And sometimes we get really nasty clients as well. And there are people who just think that, wow, it's so easy for you to make money. Why are you charging so much for a commission? And most of the time, we do not have loyalty from clients as well. So I think today's podcast will be addressing more on these topics. And of course, right on board with me here for today, I have one of my associates who is Zachary. So welcome, Zachary, to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hi, Zachary.
Yep.
So good to have you here. So I think let's jump straight into this topic here.
Yep.
Right, because I find that like sometimes, as a property agent, we face a lot of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So why is it that a lot of people tend to avoid property agents, and why is it that our rejection rate is usually very high?
Because a lot of them are just thinking that, they are here to sell me products and like, they're just here to earn my money. And they actually think that property agent, the money is very easily earned, which I don't really think so, because like they don't see a lot of things behind, like the amount of money we spend. For example, like we need to spend on Property Guru, we need to spend on printing flyers and all the marketing dollars that we spend on all the Facebook and IG. So, and actually, it's not like whenever we close one, the money will just come instantly. For example, like if let's say you close a new launch, it probably will take about like maybe 6 months to even a year for the commission to come in. And you haven't even think about like the following up. Some leads you can maybe follow up to a year before you close it. So actually, it's a really long process before you actually get the fruit of it. So yeah, I mean like there's some like quicker case whereby maybe your referrals or your friends really want to buy it, and like to you have a certain timeline to hit. For example, if let's say your friend, the rent is up and they need to quickly find a place to move into a place, then there's a timeline for it. But then to close that, you can maybe view for like maybe 2 or 3 months before. Maybe you view like maybe 10 to 20 units before you close that. Okay. So actually, it's a lot of hard work. And maybe like sometimes you really, like for example, for the weekend, if you have a full day pack of viewings, then like sometimes you don't even have like time in between viewings to eat your lunch and everything. So all this hardship, actually, we don't exactly show on our social media. So that's why I think most people, sometimes the perception of agent is that, your money come easily. When you talk to me, you're pushing something to me. So that's why they sometimes it's quite, they just don't reject us quite often. Yep.
Okay. So I think, of course, just now you mentioned that they don't really see what we're doing.
Yep.
So then it comes to this question is that like why is it that it is something that is less seen, right? Is it because like we don't tell the client like what we do, like that, I don't know what you're doing, so therefore I think your job is easy?
I think it's the social media nowadays. Like everything people seen is through social media. Nobody will post like bad things about it on social media. Like for example, like if I go door knock, like and I met a nasty client who talked down to me or like just slammed the door on me, I won't put on my social media saying, somebody slammed the door on me or something, right? So what we usually portray on our social media is like we achieved this, we closed these sales, we get like top achiever for this month. So what they seen is like all our closing and all the happy moments, but they don't really see like the behind the scene and actually all the effort that we actually put in to actually close the closings.
I think that's a very good point, right?
Yeah.
Because for social media, most of the time we put good stuff, right? So let's talk about this. Just now you mentioned, of course, a lot of the challenges that we face as an agent, but how about for yourself? Like what are some of the challenges that you have faced as an agent yourself?
I think as a new agent, if let's say from the early days when I started out, I think the most challenging is actually managing your cash flow. Because like because doing a property as a property agent is like having your own business. You need to make sure that you have enough cash flow, and like I think if you need some advice from me, I would say like if you're an agent, you probably need savings that will last you for about 6 months to to like tie you through. Because I mean, not everyone is so lucky to like the first few months you get like a lot of referrals from your friends or like your relatives to help you and everything. So you need to be prepared that the start of few months you won't have any income. And actually, this money is very important for you to last throughout, to keep it ongoing. And this is not even like include all these like marketing spend that you use for like marketing dollars that you spend for all the property gurus, like the ads that you run and all the flyers that you print. Yep. So I would advise that you need to have a bit more savings before you start. Yep. So other than the cash flow problem, the challenges that you face, I think another part is probably like to tell people why they should actually engage you to be their agent. Yeah, because like I think because there's kind of like a trend now whereby like a lot of people just like to do DIY buying. Like they think, oh, I don't need an agent. I can actually go to Guru myself and actually have all this thing done by myself. So but they actually from that they miss a lot of things, and there's a lot of pitfalls they actually face when it comes to that lah. So
okay, we'll talk more about that one later.
Yeah.
Right, actually, that happens to be one of the questions I have for you.
Yeah.
Right, but just now you mentioned about cash flow, and I think that is something that really a lot of agents they don't factor in enough, right? Because I feel that in terms of the real estate career, the number one problem that most people forget is we do not have a basic pay.
Yeah.
Right, especially for those coming from a corporate job and so on, it may be, like difficult to adjust to the period of whereby, hey, month after month, I'm not seeing money come in. And even if people talk about like, agents make a lot of money, right? Like let's say, for example, we talk about new launches.
Yep.
Yeah. So far, I mean, of course, people tend to say that new launch commission tend to be higher than resale. In most cases, it's a little bit more, right? But the downside to it is that people don't know our commission takes probably more than 6 to 9 months, or sometimes even more than a year.
Yep.
Like recently, I have developer paying me like for deals that I closed in 2021.
Oh, that's
the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, finally coming already.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the part that like it can be very scary. It can be very difficult to plan. Even for me as an experienced agent, sometimes we are feeling like, wow, like it is unpredictable as to when the money is coming in. And there is no protocol to really protect our interests as well in terms of like chasing money from developers.
Yeah.
Right. I shall not name names, but there are developers that are known for dragging their commissions. And no matter how we get the company, to chase and whatever, but there's nothing much we can really do. Right. I think that is the scary part, that even if, let's say for example, right, like even if you make 100,000, 200,000, very happy, got all the awards, like what you say, right, post on social media, make a lot of money. But guess what? What if the 100,000 is coming only like 1 year later? And then in the next 1 year, you have nothing to feed your family, right? So I think that is something people really, really don't see. And I feel that like it is the dark side of the industry that people don't talk enough about. Yeah. So one of the questions I have for you as well is, so far, right, like based on the clients that you have served, which one is the worst client that you have served? like the really like bad memory for you?
I think so far I'm not so unlucky to meet like worse, but I have like quite a few bad experience of people ghosting me.
Okay.
So like starting like early days, like when I have like a client who actually said, oh, he wants to view this condo unit, and actually I already select a few units and I already booked all the viewings and all. So okay, the night before I actually asked, okay, and so just to confirm, tomorrow is the viewing, so will you be able to attend? But he just didn't reply. So as a new agent, I'm very hopeful and say, okay, maybe I'll just give him a chance and maybe turn up for the viewing the next day. So the next day I really turn up under the hot sun and like I'm like sweating, and like then I keep calling the person, no reply at all, like can't get through also. So then I'm just really like, it's quite embarrassed though, because like the seller agent is already there waiting for me and actually waiting for me to get my clients in. So I just gotta say, to save my face, I just say, oh, my client got COVID, so that he can't really come today. And I will just view in place of him and just take some videos and show him. So I've quite a few experience of people ghosting. So like now I just more savvy. So if next time they don't answer me, then I'll just cancel the appointment. Yeah.
Right. I think that's really quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like to have someone ghosting on you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think like this is somewhat common.
Yeah, I think the industry is like that.
Yeah,
There's
in
a
the
lot of
industry,
rejections.
it's actually very common because like we talk about ghosting, it's not just, like not turning up for appointments, right? I think a lot of times we even have those that like we follow up with and suddenly can MIA out of nowhere.
Or they buy from somebody else. That's the worst.
Yeah, like it's not even that they just, like don't reply our messages in the beginning. I think that is still fine. There are some that like probably you have already went through quite a bit of process with them already, right? Maybe you have viewed some properties, you have done all the analysis and whatnot. So it has already got to the point whereby, okay, like it's just about choosing what to buy.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know is
Disappear.
Then the next thing you know is they bought from someone else. Yeah, it happened to me before. I think that was during 2020 during the lockdown period. And there was this client that I follow up very closely with. We talk a lot and so on. And then just after we have even narrowed down to the development to buy. And so happens that someone else that I know closed this client. And I got to know because like, how come the profile sounds so similar? And then the project that the person bought was the one that I recommended.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, it's such a small world that like someone else that I know actually closed the client that I was serving.
It's from the same agency as well.
Same agency.
Wow.
Same agency. Same division.
Wow.
But I mean, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Right. So I think end of the day here is it's just more of that in this industry there is really challenges that we face in terms of client like retention. Yeah. Client loyalty is something that unfortunately is not easy to maintain. So, but however, I always feel that like the clients, their perception of real estate agents are also influenced by like what you said, by social media. So we do see a lot of people flaunting their wealth. I mean, nothing against them. Like I think everybody have their own right and choice to post what they want to post. But however, I personally feel like sometimes is it true that like agents are making it difficult for themselves by posting this kind of lifestyle, and then also the agents on the ground maybe like they are being very pushy and aggressive as well. I mean, this may not be the same group of people lah. But like sometimes could it be that the clients are just adding 1 + 1 = 2, right? If like on social media, these are the people who are this kind of lifestyle, and then in real life when I meet an agent, then it happens to be an agent who is very pushy, very aggressive. Like what's your take on this? Like is this the reason why people don't like to deal with property agents?
Regarding the wealth part, I mean, like there's so many agents in Singapore. Like the last I checked, there's like 34,400 agents from like based on my January that I checked. So it's a really very, very competitive like landscape in terms of like real estate in Singapore. So there's different kind of agent. Maybe some people like go in this kind of direction to show their wealth. Maybe they want to attract like those wealthy clients. We can't say they are right or they are wrong, but it's their way of doing things. And maybe some agents that they are more into recruitment, maybe showing their wealth will recruit more new agents that want this kind of lifestyle. So there's always different kind of agents. So if let's say this kind of agent is not what you want, you can always look for those that is more humble and down to earth, maybe like me. So I mean, there's different agent for different people lah. So I can't say who's right or who's wrong, but definitely there's an agent that if you do, because I mean some agents are really pushy because they are really into doing projects. It's not that they are wrong, but this is just part and parcel of like to earn money, right? You can't say they're also finding ways to survive. But I think like in our team, in like the team that I'm in, like we always focus on like more into like actually finding the needs of the client before pushing the product. So it's not about the product actually. It's actually about us, our service, and the advice that we give. So that's very important. So no matter what, so I always tell them like don't always perceive like agent as in like this kind of typical agent. There's always different agents with different like that's very concerned about what your need and what you actually want. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is very important to highlight because people tend to stereotype.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So this stereotype type is something that unfortunately is a handicap for a lot of property agents. But at the same time, I do feel that like it's also true that a lot of agents are not doing themselves favors because the general perception of sales, I think it's something that people just think that, wow, today, if I want to close the deal, I gotta be pushy. If I want to close the deal, I gotta be aggressive. And then, like we have people who act like lowly servants to their client as well. Like, thank you for coming. And like, I'll meet you at your convenience. When are you free? I'll meet you at your place, whatever. So these are the agents who make it such that they are of low value. They are of a low position. And they cannot blame their client for thinking that, well, this agent don't even value their own time. This agent is like serving me like a servant, like a waiter, waitress. And I think that is exactly why like it's not helping them in terms of like how they are being perceived by the clients. Right? Which is why I always believe that as an agent, we need to value our time. We need to really focus on giving people advice. Right? And putting it in a way whereby today I'm not here to serve you like a waiter, but I'm here to analyze your problem and provide a solution like a doctor. Right? So just now you also mentioned one thing, which is buyers who do DIY transactions. So in this case, it's almost like people who are looking to cure themselves with self-medication.
True.
So for us, as mentioned, right, like just now I mentioned, like we are supposed to be doctors. But what is your take on these people who do this DIY transaction, like so-called like self-medicating for their own real estate needs?
I would say the reason why most of them want to do DIY is because like if let's say for example you're a HDB buyer, you want to buy HDB, then if you engage an agent, you need to give the agent 1% commission. So a lot of people actually want to save this 1%. That's why they decided to do it themselves. So, but actually, they thought it can be an easy process. But then there's a lot of things they didn't really think about it. Because like as an agent, right? Because we are dealing with like transaction day in and day out. We're always looking at the prices. What better way is actually to for us is like we are the expert in this area, so we will give a better advice. We can give a better valuation of the HBD transaction, the value. So to make sure that you don't actually overpaying. So a lot of them don't actually really know the value. If they don't do enough research, they actually don't know the valuation of the house. So in the end, they pay cash over valuation a lot more and eat into their cash, which is like, and all this extra money that you spend, actually, if let's say you were to engage an agent, if let's say your house is like 500K, you only give $5,000 to the agent. But then again, what you overpay might be more than this $5,000. So actually the savings can be more if let's say you have an agent to help you negotiate all these terms. And like timeline as well, like a lot of, if you can Google the generic timeline, but as an agent, we know what process can be shortened and what can be lengthened so that we can help you negotiate the best timeline that suits your need. What you don't want is that you don't have a house, then you've got to go and rent another house, which in this market rental is super expensive. Why not you just save the money and get a good agent to help you solve all this problem?
I think this is a very valid point because like, especially with timeline. Timeline is something that I think most people screw up the most in because they do not understand how HDB really work. Like for example, when it comes to selling, right? A lot of people do not know that today, if you sell and you engage a HDB conveyancing to do for you, then when it comes to the buying, right, you must wait until the completion of the selling. Then you can buy. Which doesn't make sense. That means to say that today, after you have sold your house, right, you have no place to stay until you buy another house later, and then till the completion of the purchase, then you get a place to stay. In between, even with 3-month extension, is not enough. Because like the timeline is screwed up already. Right? So that is something that only through an agent we can share with people that, hey, in order to do proper back-to-back, right, like selling and buying, you need to engage a private lawyer to handle the selling. The buying, you can get HDB to act, but the selling has to be by law firm. Right. So that is just one of the examples that we can share, like in terms of how without an agent, a lot of people really don't know all this stuff. And it can be very detrimental in terms of, their timeline wise. And like you mentioned, also in terms of the COV. Right. But talking about COV, in today's market, there's still a lot of COV going around.
Because everyone's perception now is that, the market is so hot. So actually a lot of like seller actually have really unrealistic like price that they put in there. But as an agent, we need to really advise them like what's the realistic price. If not, your house will be on the market for so long and there's a lot of waste of time, which is waste of money lah. So Yeah, and if let's say you don't have an agent as well, then because you don't know anything, you just rely on the seller agent. The seller agent best interest is confirmed to the seller, so they will try to they will help you a bit in terms of your process, but then they will still have the best interest of the seller rather than you as a buyer. Yeah.
I think that's very true because
Yeah.
you always have to see who the agent is serving.
Yeah.
Right. So like today's market, I feel that even though the pricing of HDB is slightly slowing down in terms of growth, but it's still an all-time high market. Yeah. So the big question for people is that how do you know whether is this flat coming with COV or not? Right. So all these things, I think, of course, as you have mentioned, as agent, we are able to value add. We can share with people how do we derive the right purchase price to minimize the COV. Right. So now let's come to this last final question. Right. Just now, all that we have been saying is all about the client's perception of real estate agent. Right. And like what are the pros and cons of engaging agent. So now let's talk about how can we do more or what can be done better to improve people's perception of agents.
I think a channel like this is very good.
Our podcast is very good. Okay.
Because it's very it's the cold hard fact of what an agent life day to day is. So people actually know the truth lah. And it's not just what they've seen actually from all the social media. So I think we need to find channels like this to actually tell them what is actually the cold hard fact of being an agent and what are the challenges that you really need to expect if you were to step into this industry. Yeah. So as an agent ourselves, I think we need to really push the fact that we are of the best interest of you. We are not here to just keep pushing products without any goals. What we are here to do is to have value add and help you in terms of your goals and your needs. Yeah.
I think that's very well said.
Yeah.
I feel that social media is always the almost like the barometer that people use to, measure, right? Like, is this agent
successful or not?
Yeah. And also the level of success depends on also maybe like client testimonials.
Yeah.
I find that client testimonial is something that most agents tend to forget about.
Yeah.
Right. They maybe paise or what, they don't dare to go and ask for testimonials and to get social proof that hey, my service is good, that I really did this and that. Right. So that is one thing that I always emphasize on. Is we need to just openly and ask. Right? If you think your service was good for your client, just go ahead and ask your client, hey, can you rate my service? Can you give me a testimonial? Right? That will help me greatly in my business. Right? So I believe that if clients really appreciate the agent, they would be more than happy to give, all these testimonials. Then, even like little compliments on WhatsApp and so on, we can always screenshot them. And then, just post on social media, you cover away your clients' names, like PDPA, you cover, right? Yeah, but once we can do that, then people will start to see, hey, there's a genuine compliment, right? Through a personal WhatsApp message. It's not like fabricated testimonials. Yeah, so I feel that all these are part of ways that how we can let the public know that, hey, I am different from the typical agent that people tend to avoid.
More heartfelt lah.
Correct. And I feel that also like doing videos helps a lot. I think today it is a new age. It's a new, I would say now it's more on TikTok. It's more on IG Reels, right? Everybody is watching videos nowadays. That is the fastest way for real estate agents to really reach out to the consumers and let people know how you are like as a person. Right? Because instead of hiding behind maybe a new launch product ad, nobody knows who is the agent behind.
Skip and just go to the next post.
Likely. Or even if they click in, but they would not be aware of who is the agent behind the ad. What kind of agent is it? Right. So of course I know that for a lot of agents it may be very challenging, like to be on video, to talk on camera. Right. But I feel that it is something that if we can do it, we push ourselves through. I think that is where instantly we will elevate ourselves to be among the easily like the top 5% of the industry, because 95% of the people don't dare to do videos. So if you are in the top 5%, you can do a video, show your face, talk to people, and people can sense that, hey, you are nice. You are genuine, right? You are very sincere. And your videos is always about how you can value add to people instead of like, I am flaunting my lifestyle, whatever. Again, not saying anything against whatever agent here. But then again, of course, when it comes to the public eye, we have to agree this is that people don't like it when, like you're all about yourself. That is general. Right? Most people don't like it when somebody is full of themselves and everything is all about themselves. So if we do videos that is for the consumers, for the people, I'm sure that this would help a lot. It goes a long way in making it easier, right, for people to relate to you as an agent. And it makes us, like I would say, much more value adding to every single client that we meet. Yeah. So to end off for today, maybe you can just give us one last tip. Right, that today, if they are looking for an agent, what should they be looking out for?
Agent with sincerity, and like I think sincerity is the key actually to everything. So like they will have your best interests. They are sincere, and be truthful. Honestly and truthful is also very important as well.
Right. So sincerity, to be very honest and truthful.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zachary. That's very, very nice from you. All right. So now, of course, we have come to the end of today's episode. So this is where we have already discussed, these are all the challenges that we face as a property agent. It is not easy for us, but nevertheless, we are committed to do our very best for every single client that we meet. All right, so this will be the end of today's episode. And of course, if you like this show, if you're on YouTube, just simply subscribe to this video and click on the notification bell. If you're on Spotify, then of course, follow our channel as well. We have many more episodes that we've done before this, and we'll still have many more coming up after this as well. All right, so that is all for today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.